Okay, you know the drill. Another ticket pops up, another user complaining about slow Wi-Fi. It feels like a never-ending cycle, right? But what if all those reactive, one-off fixes are actually just papering over much deeper issues? Today we're going to dig into a professional method that stops the patching and starts engineering a truly solid wireless environment by, well, mapping the invisible world of RF interference.
Now, before we really get into it, just a quick heads up on where this info is coming from. This is actually part 6 of a really deep 10-part dive into a technical guide from the pros over at RFI Detectives. We're zooming in on their specific methodology from Chapter 6, which is all about analyzing and mapping interference. So yeah, we're getting right to the good stuff.
Look, we've all been there. You're running from one complaint to the next, you tweak a setting here, reboot an access point there. That's reactive troubleshooting. And hey, it's part of the job for sure. But let's be honest, it almost never gives you the full picture of what's really going on with your network.
And this slide just nails the difference between the two mindsets. Over on the left, you've got that ad hoc, firefighting approach. You're just chasing symptoms as they pop up. And the big problem with that, you're pretty much guaranteed to miss the sneaky, hidden issues. But on the right, that's the professional, systematic method. It's about taking a step back to understand everything, find the actual root cause, and then really optimize the whole thing. It's kind of like the difference between just patching a leaky pipe and totally re-engineering the plumbing so it works perfectly.
So, how do we make that leap from just reacting to being truly proactive? Well, according to the experts at RFI Detectives, the whole foundation is something called the Systematic Site Survey. And this is not just, wandering around with a laptop. This is a formal, structured process for building a complete, detailed picture of your RF environment.
Let's break that down a bit. A comprehensive assessment means you cover the entire space, not just the problem spots people complain about. A complete understanding means you're looking at everything, your Wi-Fi, your neighbor's Wi-Fi, even interference that's not from Wi-Fi at all. And this last part is so important. You're not just documenting problems, you're looking for opportunities to make things better. It totally shifts your mindset from what's broken to how awesome can we make this?
Okay, theory is great, but how do we actually do this? The guide lays out a super clear, actionable technique they call the grid mapping method. This is the how-to. This is how we collect the kind of high-quality data we're going to need.
So here's how it works. First, you take your floor plan and you overlay a virtual grid on top of it. Then, at regular spots on that grid, say every 10 or 20 feet, you set up a measurement point. Now, this next step is absolutely crucial. At each one of those points, you stop, you actually stand still, and you collect data for about 30 to 60 seconds. That little pause is what lets your tools get a real sample of the RF environment, not just a quick snapshot as you're walking by. The goal here is simple, but it's so powerful. Complete, methodical coverage, no cutting corners.
All right, so you've patiently walked the grid. You've collected a mountain of data. What now? Well, this is where the magic really happens. All of those numbers, all those data points, they're about to be turned into something you can actually use, something visual and incredibly powerful, a map of your RF environment.
And here it is. This is the big payoff. When you plot all that data onto your floor plan, you get a heat map just like this one. And all of a sudden, the invisible world of radio frequency becomes visible. You can literally see exactly where interference is at its worst, those red zones, and where your network is running smoothly. This is how you find those hidden problem areas that the old reactive way would have missed every single time.
And what's really cool is this technique works everywhere. It doesn't matter if you've got a huge open-plan office or a complicated layout with a ton of separate rooms and glass walls that totally mess with RF signals. Grid mapping gives you a crystal clear picture of how interference actually behaves in your specific space, giving you the context you need to finally fix things for good.
And this quote from the guide really sums it all up, doesn't it? The most important thing is this. It's not just about what you find, it's about what you don't miss. This methodical approach is basically your insurance policy. It stops you from accidentally overlooking that one corner of the building where some major intermittent interferer has been hiding out and causing chaos.
And that really brings us to the final and I think most important question. If you were to use this professional method on your own network, what do you think you'd find? What hidden sources of interference, what chances for optimization could a complete RF map show you about your environment? It's a powerful thought. Thanks for joining me for this one.